question at the back.
I've got a question here, Stephen Hall, Hotel Services, Milton Keynes Hospital. I think your analysis of what you needed to be a change agent is very refreshing. Perhaps you might like to comment about whenever change management posts are advertised in the health service, they seem to want Prince 1 and Prince 2 certification, and that seems to be the opposite to what you're saying.
Yes, very astute, Stephen. Prince 1 and Prince 2 is not a requirement for a job in our team. This is not to say that project and program management has got a role, but it's very difficult to write a project plan that imagines what's going to happen in a year's time, 3 months' time, and people spend ages writing PIDs, which have become imaginary documents. We believe that actually engaging people in the change process can get there faster, and there are a whole raft of ways of organising discussions that enable people to solve problems much quicker. And by all means, then write them down and keep them moving. But that's about learning. It's not about project control. So, we think you've got to think in a much more agent-based way.
So yes, I was just also thinking about what Jack Cohen used to say, running the stores, that the only place you could run a Tesco stores was on the shop floor because it was management by walkabout.
Yeah, you can't beat it. The only way I could do my job was going in early, staying late. There's nothing like finding out what's going on at 2 o'clock in your hospital and finding out that the processes won't work. If you've got a site manager who's also responsible for fires and is the only person in a acre-wide building, it's not going to work if the fire alarm goes off. You've got to go around and experience it, in my view, and find out what the real stories are. So I think it's just making sure that you create those kind of opportunities because the real stories matter.
Hi there, it's Amanda. I work for the Royal Navy and not too far away from here. Love the sea, but I actually live in the National Forest, so I'm quite happy regarding trees, etc.
Yeah.
My question is, though, what is the maintenance plan? So obviously you've got the funding for the planting of the trees, but what's the maintenance? Because if it is left, to me, it's stressful.
Yeah.
And I see local authorities leave the maintenance alone. So is it down to the hospitals? Is it down to the local authority? Or is it Forestry Commission responsibility? What's the plan for it?
So it's made clear during the expression of interest form that needs to be filled in to access the fully funded trees. Unfortunately, is just for the trees and the guards and canes, so the protection element of things. You don't have to have the guards if you don't want to, but depending on the amount of grazing, it might be sensible to do so. The expectation is for the healthcare site to embed that management into their green space work and their management program moving forward, and that is something that within the team we're more than happy to support on to provide that confidence, because I completely appreciate what you're saying, and there have been cases in the past, not necessarily in a healthcare setting that I'm aware of, but in other aspects of my career where I've worked at the Wildlife Trust and I've worked with councils or community groups, and there isn't that long-term sustainability plan of what is it going to be like in 10 years, who's going to remove the guards, is there going to be volunteers involved in that management, but you can't be fully reliant on volunteers. There's so many different angles you can take with it, and I can completely appreciate people's concerns. But we do provide as much support as we can, and we provide a management pack to help with hopefully reassuring as much as we can that this is something that firstly is really important from a healthcare perspective, health outcomes for patients, for staff, for visitors, but also the ecological benefits, and that it should be invested in the long term within that organisation. So it's also that culture and behaviour change that we do as a wider team to help the tree work be sustainable.